Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I am going to be explaining something about surface modeling in SolidWorks. First I'm going to show you some pictures of a car that I designed using surface modeling in SolidWorks, and then we are going to be designing somewhat like a computer mouse shape with surface modeling. And the trick with surface modeling is not only to make the surface model, but actually go into converting it into a solid body, and that's the most difficult part in SolidWorks. So let's start with the basics. In the first part of the video I will show you the steps that I take, how I build up my sketches, etc., and later on I will just go through the tree step by step and showing you how the model evolves and how it comes together into a solid body. First off, I start off with defining some planes, and in this case I will have an outside plane. When you model a surface or a body or whatever, most of the time you do it half, and after that half is done you mirror it. One thing that is very important when you do this is that the center line needs to be smooth, and you can do that by making sure that your surface is or the line into the mirror side is straight and not curved from the start, because then it's very difficult to get a good fitment between the left side and the right side of the mirrored part, so to speak. So that's tip number one. Furthermore, I start on the right plane. The right plane for me is always the center line. The front plane is with a car, the front axle, and in this case it's just the front of the mouse. And the top plane is the ground or the desk or whatever. In this case I did not use it as the ground plane. I used it as basically a center line for what I made. Put a plane below it and a plane above it, and within those parameters I start sketching the mouse. By the way, this video is sped up. It's twice the speed that I worked. So just don't think I work that fast. I'm funny, but not that funny. So the next thing is that we start with a base sketch of what we want to make, and from there on out we start to put some lines into basically into the distance, so that we can start generating a 3D surface. Several surfaces that are quite easy to use. So for the bottom of the mouse I use the planar surface. Normally for most you will use a lofted surface. Sometimes you can use an extrude surface, one other tutorial that I will do, I will talk about a fill surface as well, because that's one that you can use very well as well. And then of course the trim function is something that you use as well, to get shapes, to get a hole in a shape, for example, or to trim a surface, just to a shape that you like more. One feature that helped me out big time is when you select or make a construction line or a regular line. You can select that line and the point of that end of that line, and then go to planes and actually make a plane on that line and that dot. And what's very nice about it is that it allows you to make planes wherever you want it to be or where you need it to be. And furthermore, that dot is also the center of that plane, and that often allows you to design something perfectly towards that center point. And especially when you work with lofts, for example, if you want to have a circle shape, for example, then it's perfect. That is already a point where you can start from. You can use 2D sketches and 3D sketches, and what's important is that when you are working with a surface model, that you use the surface or the sketch lines that you make, that you reuse them. You can either do that by clicking on them, or you can do that by using within the sketch function the convert entity button, and then you can use it to convert the sketch into a new loft, basically. And one of the reasons you would do that is, for example, if you have a sketch that's, for example, 100 millimeters long, but you only need to use 50 millimeters of that, then you convert entities and then you trim it back. And of course, with a straight line you don't have to use it, but with a curved line that's better to do. When you're ready with your model and you're satisfied with it for now, the first thing that you're gonna do within surfaces is click the button knit surfaces, and what that does is that all the independent surfaces that you made, it's gonna make it into one part, or into one combined surface. Make sure that when you do that, that you also tag the merge entities field. Um, Now once that's done, and especially when you have a little bit more of a squared shape to it, you can choose to use the fillet button to fillet some of the sharp corners, for example. In this case I didn't do it, but you could. Then first what I did was thicken half of the shape, and you can thicken it to the inside and thicken it to the outside. I chose to thicken it to the inside, and then you go to the feature bar, and under linear pattern you have mirror part or mirror, and within that mirror what you will do is select a plane on which you want to mirror the part, in my case the right plane. Then you select bodies to mirror because it's no longer a surface, we made it into a body. And then what's important is that merge solid is off and knit surfaces is on, or at least in my case that's when it works, and when I said merge solid it didn't work. So yeah, this is something you'll find very often in SolidWorks, is that when you are working with it, sometimes something works and then 5 minutes later it doesn't work. And what often happens with surface modeling is that you've made a model, let's say you made a front bumper, and when you try to merge the entire or thicken the entire body, it doesn't work. But when you start with the wheel arch and then the vent and then something else, and you add layers and you add surfaces basically to your trim, to your knitting surface, and then to your thickening surface, it sometimes works. So something that didn't work when you did it all at once might work when you do it in steps. But SolidWorks is just not the best program for surface modeling and designing complex shapes like cars. However, yeah, this is what I've got, and this is what I'm using. So I will show you some tricks for simple designs first, and then we can continue into more complex shapes. Please leave comments, give feedback, ask questions, and together we will try to find some solutions. If you have any ideas for the next video, please do so, and I look forward to your comments and your likes. And yeah, if you like what I'm doing, also don't forget to subscribe, and thank you very much for watching.